Amsterdam Film Show. So hello and welcome to the May edition of the Amsterdam Film Show. My name's Kathy Leung and this is David Swatling.
Hi Kathy, great to be back.
Yes, and we have, as usual, a review of a film that we've both seen this time again, and also some special screenings, film festivals. There's so much in Amsterdam, so we're only going to pick out a few. And then a couple of new releases that are in the Dutch cinemas in May.
That's right.
So let's start with the review. We've both seen a film called Unsane.
And I would suggest that you not go see it like I did, coming directly from your shrink appointment. Puts a kind of a funny buzz on the film, or yourself, if you're as neurotic as I am.
So the film is about a young woman who is involuntarily admitted to a mental institution, where she's confronted by her biggest fear. But is it real or is it a product of her imagination? You can imagine.
Classic psychological questions. Is this really what's happening, or am I just thinking this is what's happening?
I had the exact same experience after we had seen Unsane, with all of these, paranoia kind of explorations and things, and the setting of the medical institution. And I went to a normal hospital appointment, and then upstairs was a residential bit which they said, why don't you go and have a look? And I was just like, this is all happening to me. Just like in the film, I don't know. But no, I'm here to tell the tale.
Well, she says at the beginning, she's alone in a strange city, and that makes her, she never feels safe.
And in a city like Amsterdam, to be honest, I very rarely feel afraid. But then when you think in a setting like this, where you're really vulnerable, it doesn't have to be dark or late at night or down a small street. It's fucking scary. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of this film is in broad daylight too. I mean, it's not the dark noir alleys. It's the sort of the strange angles of psychological thrillers. Yeah.
So the director, Steven Soderbergh, he's done quite a few films. He's had quite a long career. Oh yeah. Were you saying he did Sex, Lies and Videotape?
Sex, Lies and Videotape. I remember when that came out, and he was suddenly the wunderkind of new cinema. Yeah.
It was
a very long time ago.
I think when I was at school, it must have been in the 1980s. It's a very 1980s film.
Yeah.
But he's got longevity because he's here now, and he's kind of sticking with the times, because this film, Unsane, has been shot entirely on iPhones.
It's funny. I didn't know that beforehand. I now, since I've read, I guess it played the Berlin Film Festival, maybe. And
I don't know.
Somewhere before, maybe Sundance, one of those early in the year festivals, and that was all the big talk, is the iPhone film. But going into it, I just was like, this has a very odd way of looking at the world. I mean, it almost felt like a film academy final project. It's a little rough around the edges, but that's what he was trying to do, to sort of update film techniques to today.
Yeah, I think it certainly did look a little bit like an iPhone film. You could kind of tell the production values. It's difficult to say. It sounds snobby to say that they were low or something, but I just feel like the director deliberately didn't really focus on making it, trying to make it look filmic. And you will see films shot on iPhones that try to replicate a filmic look. And I feel that he didn't even bother. He just kind of shot it. And I think it was more for efficiency and stuff. Probably it helps with the budget as well.
Well, and also the lead actress, Claire Foy, who we know from loads of historical dramas, most recently The Crown, and she's won all these awards for, which is always the actress made up, with layers and layers to look exactly of someone from a certain time. Here, she seems like she's not wearing makeup at all. She looks like a completely different person. I didn't recognize her as, the Queen or anything like that. And she was really fantastic.
She was excellent, Claire Foy, and what a great role to have as your next kind of mainstream role after playing the Queen. You couldn't find, two more different roles. And she's British, and she does the American accent excellently.
Oh, there are a lot of British actors these days doing great American accents.
So no, I was really impressed with that. And the film, like I say, it's not a high quality glossy look, whereas Steven Soderbergh has done that kind of film about the subject matter. I think there was a film, Side Effects, with Jude Law and Catherine Zeta-Jones recently, which was a thriller, and that was very, very glossy. And this seems to be telling a similar style of story, but you're right, with really, really rough edges. But we're so used to seeing imagery like that now from our phones, and I think it's just become more acceptable.
In that sense, it was familiar, even though it wasn't your normal cinematic kind of experience.
It seemed closer to our experiences, because if you see something really glossy, then you've got that remove, and you think, well, this is Hollywood. Whereas if you see the picture as something that you could have captured on your phone, then it's closer to your life. It was an excellent story. Oh, it's tense from the beginning to the end. And when I say the end, it's the very end.
The very end, yeah.
So, you think it's relaxed and it's all over, and then it's like... So that's a good story. Never a moment where you were like,
it keeps you on the edge of your seat for sure.
Yeah. What did you think about the whole ensemble, and it's not just about Claire Foy? There's lots of very good other performances as well.
Well, there's a lot of minor characters, from hospital staff to relatives, I found it buried a little bit. I mean, some of the characters. I mean, there's a nurse that's kind of right out of a caricature of Nurse Ratched.
From One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, but I mean, she's not real. It's you can't. That's one of the characters that makes you think that maybe this is all in her head. That she's that she thinks she's sane, but she's totally not. Because how could she have a nurse like that? So I mean, it's weird. But again, I have to trust Soderbergh that he wanted that actor to be doing a performance like that. Yeah. The script is really kind of like the B movies out of the 50s. Those, woman trapped in an insane asylum, that, and it really had that kind of feel to it. In that sense, even though the technology was right up to date, the script itself was really kind of a throwback, I think, to those kind of melodramas. Yeah,
there were things introduced, certainly, that weren't followed up. And that I found annoying, because at the end of the film you're like, but what about that, and what about this? Certainly as well to do with the character's life before she entered the mental institution. That part wasn't particularly strong. And there's a cameo, a very high profile actor cameo, which is what the fuck?
What's he doing there?
And then just nothing afterwards. It was just that also left a weird note.
Yeah, there's no spoilers, because it's not even in the IMDb cast list or anything. He's totally uncredited, but it throws you. It does throw you.
Yeah. So it's this premise as well then, that has she got a stalker? Is there really a stalker? You'll see this in the trailer. Part of her presumed insanity is that there isn't a stalker, and she's imagined that. There's a part in which she's made out to be sexually promiscuous, and that maybe that's part of her problem. And there are those questions thrown up. So it starts off as one kind of film, I think, exploring insanity or that kind of thing, and then turns into a very different kind of movie. Like I said, I think there's very strong acting from all the different people, the suspected stalker, but out of all of the characters, did you feel sympathy for any? Did you feel really especially for the main character, did you actually care about her?
It was difficult. I didn't. I mean, I felt removed from the film as a whole. Never did it really start grabbing me in terms of caring. Whether is she sane or is she not? It's this all in her imagination. Well, it wasn't like I was rooting for her, because she's, even in the opening scenes, she's not the most likable person.
Yeah, so that's it's refreshing. It's a kind of balanced view. She's not a perfect person, so that changes the tone of the film a little bit.
But and that's, she's really good. Don't get me wrong. But for instance, I'm perfectly willing to follow a bad character. There's lots of films where the villain is so charming, that you just want to see what they're going to do next. in this case, it's not that she's a bad character, but there's just something somewhat unlikable about her. And unlikable characters, there's got to be some reason to keep following their story.
And I would say out of all of the characters, some of them don't fare too well. But like I say, do you care? Not really. There's only one character that I really cared about, and he didn't fare too well. And and I felt bad about that. But the rest of them I didn't really. I was like, it's part of the story. So you're involved up to a certain extent, but I was at that stage when the character I liked was like, oh no. So it is engaging.
Yeah, I think you were more engaged than I was.
Okay. It's definitely entertaining, but it's not necessarily something you would see on a big screen, I would say. Yeah.
I'd agree.
Unsane, it's a thriller. It's in Amsterdam cinemas from the 3rd of May already. And it's not that many, there's not that many cinemas where it's screening. As far as I can see, it's at the Film Museum and some Pathé screens. There might be some more, but I would say it's not going to be widespread, so you might have to look for it and travel over town. And then not soon after, from the 10th of May, we have an animation, a stop-motion animation from Wes Anderson, Isle of Dogs.
Which I saw last night.
Oh!
I went to a preview at City Centre. Now, I've not made it any kind of secret that I'm not a fan of animated films. Really, the whole Pixar revolution, I just don't like those movies at all.
Oh, did you see it for us then?
Well, I saw it because Isle of Dogs. I love dogs. I love dogs. Yeah. So, and because Wes Anderson isn't really on my... I saw Moonrise Kingdom on TV maybe a year or so ago. I thought, oh, this is a Wes Anderson movie? What's the big... I mean, for some reason, it didn't grab me.
Underwhelmed.
Very underwhelmed.
Did you see the Grand Budapest Hotel?
No, I never saw that, but I know that it ran forever and everybody was in it and everyone seemed to love it, especially here.
Yeah.
But, so despite not really being a fan of his or animation, I went to see this film because dogs.
Yeah, you love dogs.
I do.
I love dogs.
I loved this movie. I loved the stop animation. Oh. I loved the whole story. I love the look of it. It's visually inspired and stunning.
Do you get bored of an animation because it's such a long... I like short ones, but a longer film. How did that go?
Because the script is so well written, and it is so laugh out loud funny. I mean, it's amazing. I was surprised. I wasn't expecting this. I thought, the story is a 12-year-old boy goes in search of his dog, Spots, who has been rounded up as part of this whole mega Suki city mayor's campaign to get rid of dogs because of this snout virus and dog flu and all this stuff. So the dogs have all been relegated to Trash Island. And, if you're a cat person, you'll probably not enjoy this movie quite as much as dog
You'll be
people.
Like, hooray!
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so the little boy goes to Trash Island to find Spots. And the first group of dogs he encounters to help him, this group of alpha dogs, are this motley crew. And it's from then on in, it's journey time with, a little boy and his friends looking for his friend. And it's a wonderful story, but it's just so funny. I mean, Wes Anderson apparently has a gang of actors he uses, which he uses for the voices in this film. People
Edward
Norton and Bob Balaban and Jeff Goldblum and Bill Murray, of course. And they are the gang of dogs, and they are so funny. The way it's so dry, the humor, but it's so surprising, and in so many ways, the look of the film, the whole visuals, from the dark trash heaps to the spectacular palaces to the cityscapes to the, it's really amazing. It's really wonderful. all done in these various styles, like Japanese anime or films, or there's definitely nods to Akira Kurosawa's films and to the artwork that inspired Van Gogh, the Japanese artwork. And all of that is kind of in it, and yet it just flows. And you asked about it being too long. I would say that this movie is maybe 10, 15 minutes too long. But it was so beautiful to look at. There's something about, in literature, a philosophy of that dogs encompass, kind of a Zen feeling that really comes through in this film. And I think that's why it works on so many different levels. Also, I considered going on May 12th. There will be a dog-friendly screening at 11 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, where you can bring your dog to the movie.
Which cinema was that?
That's at Cine Centre.
Okay, cool. So, I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it.
A dog-friendly, and this is not just here. They've done this in Edinburgh. They've done it in San Francisco.
What are they going to do about, if they want to poo and stuff?
Well, you have to take them out, I'm sure. But dog treats will be served. But it's just the idea of because there are dogs that do enjoy TV. That especially certain things they like.
And other dogs, and if there's barking, they'll be like, ooh.
Yeah.
I just think it's a recipe for mayhem.
I'm sure. Well, that's why I didn't decide. I decided not to wait and go to that because I thought it would just be too distracting, and I was really interested in the film. Now, the film has not been without a little bit of controversy.
Yeah.
Ever since it opened and won Wes Anderson the Best Director Award at the Berlin Film Festival, and that is the fact that he is white American male making a film about Japan and Japanese characters. And so this and this is a big thing lately in both literature and film, appropriation.
Yeah.
But Japanese actors, voice actors, are doing the Japanese characters, and the thing is they're not subtitling them. There is, Frances McDormand does a translator that translates in certain scenes the Japanese stuff that's going on. But people say, well, the dogs, the barking is done in English, but the Japanese characters, it's like it's not important what they're saying. Well, it is, but he finds different ways to figure that out, how to do that. I mean, it's certainly much better than if he had gotten voice actors doing fake Japanese accents or something like that, or some things. I think he's actually tried to really mix the culture, and I think he's being honestly true to what he knows about Japanese culture. And there is a Japanese writer who's part of the writing team that wrote the script. So I mean, and like I said, this wonderful homage to Japanese filmmaking like Kurosawa and others, and the whole visual look of the film and the music. I think he's being honest and not stealing, not making fun of, not laughing at. It's just a great story that moves and makes you laugh, and if you're a little more emotional than me, maybe shed a tear.
Oh.
And I think it's wonderful.
I think you sold it to me, David.
Well, I highly recommend it. I really do.
That's Isle of Dogs from the 10th of May in Amsterdam.
Exactly. Woof. 5 woofs.
Also out from the 10th of May in Amsterdam, Tully, which is a comedy drama from Diablo Cody.
Oh, who did Juno?
Yeah, Juno.
That was her first film.
Also Young Adult. Young Adult starred Charlize Theron. It was very good. And this film, Tully, also stars Charlize Theron.
I actually saw the trailer to this last night.
Oh, right, yeah. And what did you think?
Yeah, it looked really interesting. Looked interesting, yeah.
It's good. It's kind of like a bleak black comedy about motherhood. Really raw looking. I think Diablo Cobley's writing has been brilliant. Yeah. And she's writing also about things in a way in which they haven't really been covered before. I think she's quite fresh and, yeah.
And funny.
Yeah.
She's a very funny writer.
In essence, the story is Charlize Theron plays a struggling mother of 3, including a newborn, and she's gifted a night nanny by her brother. And, it's a little bit about how the relationship with the night nanny unfolds, but also just, the sheer, the reality of a motherhood and struggling. Amy Nicholson of The Guardian says of this film, Theron looked happier driving across a post-apocalyptic desert with a car of frightened slave girls.
Ouch.
That tells you something about some of the stages.
Well, that sounds like what motherhood would be like for me.
And of course, there's totally amazing, it's overwhelmingly positive, but, there are some really dark moments. From the 23rd of May, another kind of prequel sequel, Solo, A Star Wars Story.
Oh, right, yeah.
This is telling the story of Han Solo before he became a rebel fighter and met Princess Leia and everything, when he was, messing around in the galaxy. What was he doing? He was, he's like getting up to no good, basically.
Oh, was he a bad boy?
I think a little bit, of a rogue. But Solo is the story of how he meets his future co-pilot, Chewbacca, of course, but also Lando Calrissian, who's a key character in the Star Wars story. And it's directed by Ron Howard. It's usually pretty stable director.
That's true. Yeah, he's great.
But also, the Kasdans are back, who are part of the original writing team of Star Wars. The Lawrence and Jonathan Kasdan, very good writers.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big, good team. Han Solo being played by Alden Ehrenreich. Never heard of him, but from the trailer he looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
And it's like there's been a lot of negativity towards Solo, A Star Wars Story. There's been changes of director and all sorts of other things. So everyone's like, it's going to be rubbish. But do you know, they said all sorts of the same things about Rogue One, which was also a Star Wars story, and that was excellent. And I think that was better than some of the new Star Wars films that have been out more recently. So I've got high hopes for Solo, A Star Wars Story. That's coming out from the 23rd of May in Amsterdam. And at the end of the month, an interesting film called Only the Brave.
Don't know it.
No, it's a true life drama. I would say it's a bit of a thriller too. And that's it. It's based on a story about firefighters in the US. The true story of the Granite Mountain Hotshots. They're a group of elite firefighters who risk everything to protect a town from a historic wildfire, according to IMDb. That's the story. Now, it's got big star names: Josh Brolin, Miles Teller, Jeff Bridges.
Oh, wow.
So it might feel like a kind of run-of-the-mill backdraft or a volcano type of disaster movie, but it's based on a real story, and I think that makes the difference. A real group of firefighters. So you're not aware of that story as well?
No, and I have a thing for firefighters, so everybody does. Come on.
Yeah.
There's probably no more popular male calendar than firefighters, unless maybe firefighters with dogs.
Yeah. So you've got a good hour and a half or 2 hours of firefighters doing that thing. But yeah, I just think it looks like a very good film. Dramatic, but it's had very good reviews as well. So normally I would kind of pass over a film like this, but I kind of think this will actually be better than you think it is. That's my tip. And that's the end of the month, from the 31st of May. So you've got a bit of time.
Yep.
So for special screenings and film festivals this month, I've picked out the Spanish Film Festival, which is at the end of the month and kind of goes into June. It's been going for 4 years, apparently. I've never heard of a Spanish film festival in Amsterdam before, but this year they've got 25 Spanish films on offer over a couple of days. So it starts from the 29th of May, goes on till the 3rd of June. Now, the big opening film is Escobar, otherwise known, it's also got another title, Loving Pablo.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think Escobar, right? Yeah. I think Escobar is a better film title.
Well, everyone certainly knows who Escobar was.
Yeah, because Loving Pablo, you could look at that and think it's Pablo Picasso very
that's
easily.
True, yeah.
So, yeah, everybody knows who Pablo... Does everybody know who Pablo Escobar was?
Maybe not. Who is he?
He is a well-known, very powerful, rich I would say drug baron. But remind me.
Colombian, right?
Colombian, yeah, that's it. Colombian. I was going to say, is he Mexican? Colombian? So that's it. Now, it's the opening film of the Spanish Film Festival, but also the director of the film, who's Spanish, Fernando Leon de Aranoa, will also be there.
Oh, wow.
Which is big, because that's the special thing, really, because Escobar does come out in the Netherlands on the 31st of May anyway.
That's always the best part of film festivals,
yes.
is when you actually get to hear the director talk a little bit about their work,
And, the film's got some big names in it. I don't think they'll be there. So we've got Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem in the lead roles.
Fantastic.
I don't think they'll be coming to Amsterdam, unless it's a surprise visit. But they play the lead roles because, of course, it's about the romance between Pablo Escobar, the big drug boss criminal, and a journalist, Virginia Vallejo, if I say it right. So I did not know that they had a big old passionate affair.
I don't really know that much about his personal life. I just know him by reputation.
Yeah. But can you imagine then a journalist who probably is supposed to be covering this story and getting involved with the story, criminal source or
kind of a twist,
subject matter.
A strange twist on Stockholm Syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah. And of course, it's just one of the films at the Spanish Film Festival. There's lots of other films, and with these kind of things, there's Spanish food and music and things like that. It's not at any one particular cinema, may I note. It's a couple, 3 or 4 different cinemas, mostly central. For more about the festival, you can see amsterdamspanishfilmfestival.com. So on Saturday the 26th of May, we have something called a Chasing Reels double header, or as I like to call it, Sam Elliott night.
Oh.
Who's Sam Elliott? Do you know?
Yeah, the actor Sam Elliott?
Yes!
Yeah.
I have no idea who he was.
I like Sam Elliott. Oh, okay.
So Sam Elliott, he was in Roadhouse from 1989 with Patrick Swayze.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah. I think I watched it once because it wasn't brilliant. But now, after many years have passed, I think I might like to rewatch it for a bit of real 1980s culture burst. But yeah, so they're re-showing Roadhouse from 1989 because also Sam Elliott has a new film. He's still making movies. He's got a new film called The Hero, which is from 2017, but it's quite recent. But it's never been released in the Netherlands.
Oh.
And those folks at Chasing Reels think that is a darn shame. So they've brought about its theatrical release in the Netherlands, and they're going to bill it together with Roadhouse. So that's why it's a double header, and that's why it's Sam Elliott night.
Excellent.
So The Hero, it's also maybe even based on a Sam Elliott story, who knows? Because it's about an aging veteran film star looking for work while still trying to reconcile with his daughter and meeting someone new.
Sounds fun.
And it screened at Sundance and South by Southwest. Director of Brett Haley.
Don't know.
No. It looks charming to me from the trailer, and I would say it's kind of like an alternative coming-of-age movie.
Coming of senior age.
Yeah, exactly. I think there should be a whole new genre of coming-of-senior age movies. There's a lot of them about. Yeah, so those are a few of the things on in Amsterdam in film this month, but there's way more. Occasionally we share those with our social media audience, so if you want to follow us on Facebook or Twitter, please do. And go to our website, broadcastamsterdam.nl, for more about the Amsterdam Film Show, links to all the things we've mentioned. And thanks for joining us.
So long.
And it might just seem like a run-of-the-mill, like Draft Back or Volcano type films, but, did I say Draft Back?
Yeah, Backdraft.
Yeah.